What up, Schmoedown Rockers? I'm back. I here's the t-shirt and flouse, I should say. His cousin, twice removed. I did okay. But he said a few too many things about Janine, and I need to discuss his contract. Is to not do that to the dungeon again. Hopefully, we won't have to worry about that. If not, then I will personally deal with him. I will humiliate if he decides to show up again. I will humiliate him. For all you dungeon heads and Dicky Doos alike, and dungeonesses. Let's not forget you. Let's not forget you as well. Especially since one of our great dungeonesses is quite the machine she is. Yes. All right. However, no dungeon this week, but that's never to fear. It's Friday Night Titans episode 3 that happens, and we finally have a number one contendership, or at least we finally see it's the Barbarian, with being a number one contender giving a number one contender shot, who has his number one contender shot from having been a finalist in last year's singles tournament, versus the Inglorious One, return of the Inglorious One, Sam Levine, for number one contender spot. Winner faces the current champion herself, Lady Justice, Marisol McKee. Before we get to that, we had an undercard that was a very interesting one, and that was apparently we find out from last week's credits that this new team is called The Movement. That has become formed between JTE and THE, Paul Preston. I wanted to make sure I got that right, because I think, as I remember, the movie guys themselves, which includes him and Adam Witt, who's managing, just in the dungeon, buddy, okay? Okay? You didn't do bad managing for us. I understand you had to go do your own thing, too. But anyways, and it turns out we find out what happened with Lon Harris anyways, and it turns out him and his brother Harris were somehow just randomly there, and apparently Harris Brothers reunion. Wasn't really too thrilled about it. I felt like this was just I just had this feeling that it was felt to be a setup to get the movement to some momentum. Some literal momentum. And in that regard, it did work. Not only that, but it also at least showcased that the Harris brothers do know their stuff, are still pretty solid. And Lon Harris is just Lon Harris. He's neither professor nor delinquent this time. It seems somehow he's in his normal Lon Harris face. Which is fine. This works just fine. Which I feel like he's just a good middle ground at this point between what he's still kind of sort of like delinquent, just not as in terms of his attitude, but his clear prowess of knowledge, as you could say, is more closer to the professor. So it's a good balancing act of just him being like, I don't know if they're gonna say himself, Lon Harris. That'd be funny. But anyways. I do see, up here in the movement's supposed to be Wild Bears. I think it'd be better if it was the ruling class versus Wild Bears, because both are drunk, except one might win a trivia more than the other. It'd be funny just to see how much of a party that entire matchup would be. Oh, man. Especially trying to see that at a legit live setting, too. And plus, winner goes on to the apparently next week's pay-per-view event in the main event. But before... And that's what happened with the movement. We mostly got some credits involving what was going to happen as prep up. At least the first two ones that bookended the undercard are what build up to our number one contender match. There we get an interview with Sam Levine, and Frankie does an interview a funny, hilarious interview for the Barbarian, also involving Gucci trying to, pay off some socks and stuff, and it's not really going over very well, honestly. But I guess it's meant to be reminiscent of the shoe issue with RB3, which was kind of funny from the Collider days. Live days, you know. Good. Those were good times. Those were good times. Despite what Harloff will tell you. My end, it was good times at least. As some viewers will tell you. But anyways. It was quite and of course it was neck and neck, and eventually basically it led to the movement themselves having to pull off the win. It was quite an interesting one. I was trying to remember, there's another sci-fi movie involving Morgan Freeman besides Oblivion that I was thinking of, and I can't remember what it was, because there was a wrong answer to their question, but and then we get the match. It seems Sam is perfect, I think, throughout the whole thing. And Barbarian apparently misses his question, which does become a disadvantage with him spinning, but he does get certain things that... And Sam winds up picking up a point at some point. Or at least not a good 2 points. So, which helps him out in his spin, which is he basically mows down for the most part. He made a couple multiple choices, but still, he does well enough to at least get 5 points ahead, to where he basically has to force Barbarian to get his 2 and his 3 to make sure he doesn't get TKO'd. Good on him. And then fortunately for Sam, and unfortunately the birthday buddy of mine, and of course he comes out, like, not surprising to the usual what was the usual suspects theme. Now it is just his, because of the situation. I don't know how they're going to set up for anything if Sam will, with the whole Schmoedown situation, but post this, if there's going to be other little things involved to tie into it, and I think the only way that's going to happen is if somehow he wins the title against Marisol. I don't know if he will, because yes, he winds up pulling the win and the victory, because he hits his 5, forcing him to have to hit his 3 to tie it at least, and somehow he manages to hit his 5 anyways, to win the game. So, just because the questions are much... I had a feeling Sam was going to win, because the way the questions have been this year, they are not the level they were the past couple seasons. So, and it was felt more closer to what they were back even when Sam was around. So I had a feeling Sam would have been more right at home than anything with the level of questions that were being asked. Minus the fact that the 5-pointers are more closer in line to the kinds of questions that were being asked during those past seasons. So the matches were overall enjoyment. Then there's a post-credit scene. They do it previously, and they showed the whole corruption announcement thing and involving that, and we finally get an idea of what's happened with him, and unfortunately, somehow, Swag found their 5th spot. So, and it winds up coming off emotional to where it even pulled at the heartstrings of this dungeon master. Because I'm usually, you know how I feel at points about corruption, but I will say once again, and even more so now after this, I extend, not that you won't be getting a bunch of them come a live event, but I extend to you, Queen of Corruption, well, more so just Shannon Barney in general, a free shiner. If that's, which is, you're not wrong, is a pretty good beer. It's a shame the other flavored ones aren't as good. I don't know if it's something that the water being a little too salty or what, because the closest thing was the candied, and that wasn't that great. And they don't know how to do fruit beers as well. Apparently they like the water and the beers too salty, or at least when it's not the regular beer, regular or light blonde formulas. Though the lime isn't bad, it works. It works in its favor. with the sea salt line. Well, that one actually has sea salt in it. But anyways, we're not talking beers. No, I gave it up for that. We're not talking beers. We're talking this matchups, and yeah, I feel for her. And this definitely may change and shift a slight momentum going into the the championship match next week, which is going to also be a much bigger factor to me. Sam still can play, but the real question is, can he play in a 5-rounder? Because he hasn't done that in a while either. He's played in a 3-rounder for the number one contendership, but not a 5. So that might be the big factor. Or at least not a 5 in years. So that's another thing that people are forgetting about, because we haven't done a championship or a 5-round match yet this year. I want to see how, they're probably going to bring back the buzzers, that's for sure. I believe they're going to bring back the buzzers. So, for the visual context that in studio has. So that's what's going to happen there. So, also, it was nice to... Oh, yeah, it was also nice to see Rachel Cushing come in and do her congratulations to her her future hubby, whenever that's going to be. So, and who knows if somehow Sam winds up getting her to come back. Who knows? But anyways, overall, I enjoyed it. Though not super surprising in any way this episode. At least not to me, necessarily. But I'll match it, all of that aside, in terms of results, all that aside, I enjoyed myself. I'm still enjoying myself. I'm hoping to enjoy myself even more come the pay-per-view, which also, which will include the Bibbs versus Chance Ellison 2, which is going to be a very interesting singles matchup, for sure. So it's going to be a double corruption card, apparently. It's a corrupted card, so to speak. But now the option is Collins is no longer on the table, and they're going to have to find a new 5th spot. Corruption does. I don't know who they're going to pick to fill that spot, but we shall see. We shall see. It'd be crazy if Sam just threw that out of nowhere and did it. But I doubt it, because Corruption's going to wind up winning no matter what, if that is the case for that title. But anyways, I don't know. Well, that's a bad prediction. I don't expect it to actually happen. But if it does, I'd be more surprised. Because that proves my predictions. It's far-fetched, even I admit. Oof. But anyways, what did you guys think of the matches of this last week's episode 3 of Friday Night Titans? Whether it be the undercard of the Movement versus the Harris Brothers, or the main event, the number one contendership between the Barbarian and the Glorious One, and the returning Glorious One, Sam Levine. Leave a comment below, let me know. Links in the description to all my pages, including the dungeon page. As always, including dungeon page, some other GoFundMes of some sort. I think either between Ben Bateman's, I don't know if that's even still a thing anymore. People need to tell me about that. And I guess my cousin's, which I probably should not have as much anymore because I think he's done. I got to double check on how that fundraiser went. But anyways, but other than that, if you like this video, rock the like button, thrust your must. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think of this video. Also hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell to get all my notifications, to get all my videos, the notifications on my videos I have coming up. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real. Hit random, keep it real, and keep it rocking. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown rocks, Cyberbound Entertainment, Friday Night Titans, so on and so forth, is cooking. Yeah. What you gonna do when Friday Night Titans and the movie trivia Schmoedown run wild on you? Yeah.